So today I'm going to share with you guys how I budget my income and the system that I use to monitor my spending, savings, and investments to make sure that I'm on track to achieve my financial goals. Every year, usually around Christmas time, I tend to take some time off work and start to think strategically about my future. It's a bit of a time for self-reflection. Within this allocated time, I also look at and analyze my finances. And I do all of this on a spreadsheet, which I'm going to share with you guys completely for free if you click on the link down in the description below. But first, let me just say this is my personal approach to budgeting, which may certainly differ to yours. So do take that into consideration, as personal finance is personal to everyone. To make this all make sense, firstly, let me address the main account structure that I have. So I get paid into a current account, and then I distribute this money into 4 other different accounts. I have a needs and necessities account, which is a joint account that I have with my partner, which is for everything like bills and mortgage payments and that kind of stuff. I have a wants account, which is for everyday spending, like a Netflix subscription, a sausage roll down at Greg's, or whatever it may be. I have a savings account, which is, well, for saving. It's where I hold my savings and my emergency fund, which I look to top up every single month. Then finally, I have a stocks and shares ISA account with trading 2 on 2, and that's where I make all of my investments, but I'll explain a little bit more on that a little bit later on in the video. Now, that may seem on the surface of things a little bit chaotic. I've got accounts dotted around here, there, and everywhere, but actually each account has its purpose. And because of that, in my mind, it makes managing my finances a little bit more simplistic. So what exactly is the system? Well, to speed up this process, I'm going to follow a budgeting spreadsheet, which I've already made, and you can download this spreadsheet too by clicking on the link in the description, then clicking on File and Make a Copy, and it will save this spreadsheet down onto your own Google Drive. Now, there's no one-size-fits-all approach to budgeting and this kind of like financial management, if you like. I guess it just depends on how well in tune that you want to be with your own finances. For me, though, I'm going to assess the previous month's worth of transactions in order to assess what my spending, saving, and investments habits have been, as analyzing a whole year's worth of data just for the purpose of this video might be slightly overwhelming. It'll probably only take me half an hour to do this in its entirety, so let's now start off with expenses. Now, for the purpose of today's video, I'm going to mostly use hypothetical figures, but to help speed up this process and actually get access to all of my transactions, I would typically go onto my banking provider's website or mobile app. I would download my bank statements and then airdrop them onto my Mac. Make sure you download those statements in a CSV file, because then you can manipulate the data. And then I would copy all of that information into the data tab that's built within the spreadsheet. And then I'll do the following 3 things. Firstly, I'd remove any transfers that I've made between my own accounts. I'd remove any income or incoming payments, so it's just my expenses that I'm assessing. And then thirdly, I'll copy my data from my data tab into my expenses section of my spreadsheet. And here's exactly what that looks like. So I'm going to copy in all of the descriptions, which is just the places where I've spent my money at. And then I'll copy in the amounts, which shows how much money I've spent at each respective place. Now, to be honest, I'd probably just ignore the date category, especially if I'm analyzing this data over the course of the past month. And then I'll go on to categorize each and every one. So McDonald's is food, Greg's is food, the Co-op is food. You can kind of see a common theme here. So I'll just now categorize all of the other expenses, and I need to also add in things like bills and mortgage, which I'm going to use hypothetical numbers for, just for the purpose of this video. Now, all of this will add up a total expenses figure, which is £2,549.21, which you can see at the top of the screen here as a total expenses figure. We will come on to savings and investments allocations in just a moment. And you can also see that this figure has been annualized to £30,590.52. Now, obviously, this figure isn't going to be 100% accurate based on my next 12 months worth of expenses. However, what it is and what it does do is it shows a moment in time reflection. If you were to carry on the spending habits that you had right now, what that would then look like over 12 months into the future. Now, the reason why I have this number in my spreadsheet is because, well, small habits do compound over time. And I want to make sure that they're not bad habits that I'm falling into. So that's my expenses. The next thing that I'll then go on to assess is my income. Now, this is probably going to be the most straightforward bit, and I'm going to use hypothetical numbers just for the purpose of this video. And the numbers that I'm also going to use have to be after-tax numbers as well. So I don't put my salary into this spreadsheet before tax. It has to be what's after tax, or essentially what lands in my bank account. The reason why I account for tax is to make sure the spreadsheet is actually accurate, because I don't want any nasty surprises when it comes to the end of my monthly budget, and I think I've got more money than I actually have. Also, another thing to note here is I also contribute to a workplace pension, so I'm also going to add that back into my income figure, because I then need to deduct it in my investment section, which comes a little bit later. So let's say, for the purpose of example, I have my job, which is a salary, and let's say that pays me £3,000 a month. Let's say I've got a little bit of a TikTok side hustle, doing some TikTok shop stuff, which pays me 200 quid a month. Let's also say that I have some interest income from the savings I have in my bank account, which pays me, let's say, £20 a month. And let's also say that I get a little bit of dividend income from some of the dividend stocks or funds that I hold, which pays out at the equivalent to £10 a month. Down below, again, you'll be able to see that this gives me a total post-tax income of £3,230, which as an annualized total is £38,760. All in all, at the top of the screen, you'll then be able to see that you have a total income and a total expenses figure, and then basically whatever's left over is pretty much money that you have to either save or invest, which as of this example is £680.79. But in this case, though, I've got surplus money, so now I'm going to allocate it to my savings and investments. Now, for me, naturally, I do try and save a little bit of money every single month into an easy access savings account, which I think pays me about 4% interest right now, though I think it's a little bit lower since the Bank of England reduced interest rates just a couple of weeks back. And of course, do remember that interest rates can vary, especially as the Bank of England kind of changes their overall base rate. Now, for me, I've got a wedding to pay for next year, so let me allocate the biggest portion of this allocation, £400, into just an easy access savings account. Now, there are obviously other types of savings accounts which you can choose from this list or add additional ones if there are any others that you use, but two of the other popular ones probably are the Cash ISA and the Lifetime ISA, which are used for kind of different things. Now, Cash ISA is where you can deposit money for an interest rate which is also tax-free as well. For example, Trading 212 currently have a Cash ISA on the market right now, offering 5.17%, which I believe is one of the top paying cash ISAs on the market currently, or as at the time of recording. You've also got the Lifetime ISA, which may be useful if you're saving for a house or potentially even saving for retirement. Now, once I've plugged all those numbers in, it gives me a savings rate of 12.38%. Now, a savings rate is the percentage of your post-tax income that you actually save. Now, as a means of comparison, the Office of National Statistics have actually said that the average savings rate in the UK right now is about 10%, but you can see that it fluctuates massively over time. These fluctuations can be linked to lots of different things like inflation, the state of the economy, changes in government policy, all things which affect one's ability to save money every single month. So to have a savings rate of 12% is slightly better than average. The next thing that I'll go on to assess is my investments, where I'll then go on to allocate the rest of the money. Do remember though, when investing, your capital is at risk and the value of your investments can go up as well as down. For me, I make the bulk of my investments in a stocks and shares ISA account, which I've held with Trading 212 since I think about 2020. And Trading 212 are also kindly sponsoring today's video. The Trading 212 are a commission-free investment app that allows you to invest in over 13,000 global stocks and ETFs, so you can build out your own investment portfolio. Now, you can do this by selecting your own investments based on the research that you've done, or you can select a ready-made portfolio using their pies feature, either copying one of their model pies or even a community pie, depending on what your preferences are. We'll show you the potential future performance of those investments, but also do bear in mind that past performance isn't always indicative of future results. Now, Trading 212 are kindly offering all of my subscribers one free share valued up to £100 when you click on the link down in the description below. Or if you've already opened an account within the past 10 days and you use the promo code Mitch, you'll also be able to claim that one free share. So now let's allocate our investments. And the first thing is obviously to reallocate your workplace pension contributions, which I'm going to do here. Let's say you contribute 5% towards your pension, which works out to be about £150. And then we are going to use the remaining £130 to go into my stocks and shares ISA account of £130.79, which gives me an investment rate of 8.69% of my post-tax income. Now, if we go by the common budgeting rule of 50-30-20, this means that you have 50% of your money allocated to your necessities, you have 30% allocated to your wants, and then 20% allocated for your savings and investments. This actually is not a million miles away. We're actually sat at just over 21%. And of course, you can follow these kind of budgeting rules, but essentially there is no one-size-fits-all approach, and essentially it's whatever feels most comfortable for you. For me, having a savings and investment rate just over 20% feels pretty good, but I may want to try and push that up to, say, 25% over the next year ahead. Now, in order to help me achieve this is where I move on to the box below, where it says next month or year, I could, and essentially take a specific action, or from analyzing my expenses, do a specific thing that might help me get towards that financial goal that I have. So for example, it could be something like cancel a Netflix subscription I no longer use. It could be that I want to increase my side hustle income, so I need to make one extra video each week. Or it could even just be something simple like you've had a super expensive month because it's coming up to Christmas, perhaps you've had a birthday gift to buy, and because of that, you just take a mental note that you want to slightly reduce your expenses next month. I use this as a point in time, a moment for self-reflection where I can look at all of my income, expenses, savings, and investments and decide if there's any tweaks or changes that I need to make in order to better improve my financial position moving forward. It's given me that healthy dialogue and relationship with my money, which I found to be super helpful. Now remember, you can get a copy of this spreadsheet completely for free by clicking on the link down in the description below. But before you go, I'll leave a video here to a Trading 212 tutorial video just in case you're interested. And with that being said, I'll see you over in the next one.